right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the 729 patch details with the two seasonal uniforms, new character, and triple tier 4 advancement. One of the biggest mid-month patches we have ever seen, maybe one of the biggest we will ever see, because oftentimes, at best, at most, we get two characters, two uniforms for a mid-month patch. So triple tier 4 upgrade is kind of crazy. One blast, one universal, one combat. This is kind of crazy. I definitely was expecting them to give us at most tier 3 for Shalla-Bal or Shalla-Bal. They gave us tier 3 and tier 4 at launch because they're trying to secure that bag, because she's a crystal wall character. This is going to be a very crystal heavy update, right? They're doing a little bit of a discount, but if she's not the type of character that you want, you might want to wait until Black Friday to get her for an even bigger discount, because they're only going to do a 20% discount. As you can see, she is going to be a crystal wall character like Adam Warlock, like Emma Frost, Blue Dragon, etc. It's been a while since they did one of these. Many people were speculating that they might put her in the Galactus boss fight similar to Silver Surfer. No dice. Okay, Silver Surfer is going to be Norrin Radd, that is going to be the free to play one that you can spend crystals for. She's female. You know, females, they usually cost that bag. Luckily, she's not cash only. Right? They could have tried it, but we would never have seen it, because tier 2 natives, they don't usually sell for cash. They unlock them to boss fights typically, or at most you spend crystals to get them. This way is, I guess, the better of the two in terms of having to pay cash, right? Because Emma Frost is gonna be paywall now and people are already upset about that, but it is what it is when it comes to these seasonals. So universal super villain. One of the things that people were wondering about Shalla-Bal is whether she was going to be hero or villain. She is, as you can see, a super villain. So very different from base Silver Surfer Norrin Radd, who comes in as a hero and is now a villain in his Void uniform, or Void Knight uniform. We're going to look at the similarities and the differences between the two characters and whether or not you can live without her, because since she is basically just a copy of the current Silver Surfer being a villain universal, the big difference here is whether or not you want to get her just because she's female, and whether or not she's good enough for PvE to do something that Silver Surfer can't. Because if you look at her kit, she is very, very similar to him. Honestly, she's a weaker version of him, in my opinion, on paper, based on what we're seeing here from the base kit. So leadership, way worse than Silver Surfer Norrin Radd. I'm gonna show you guys right here 1-to-1. As you can see right here, for his leadership, we got debuff removal, we got 30% attack defense, and we got 1% all speed. So definitely way better leadership for Norrin Radd. Then we got her tier 2 passive, which is a little bit better than Norrin. Norrin has incapacitation in place of skill damage bonus damage. He actually does not get skill damage bonus damage from any of his passives or his uniform bonus. Let me show you guys right here. As you can see, we got the same reflect percentage and we got the same damage reduction, but no dice on the skill damage bonus damage. So that might make her a little bit stronger possibly, but as you can see, for her, she gets debuff removal. She gives it to all allies, which is good, which is cool, right? I'm glad she gets that in the kit. Gives it to all allies. However, it's coming at the cost of being able to revive like Norrin Radd. So this is a big deal, okay? Because she got a worse leadership, they had to give her debuff removal in her base kit. It does benefit all allies, but it comes at the price of being able to revive. And one of the things that makes Norrin Radd so good is that he can reflect, and then when he dies, he wakes up and reflects. With this girl here, she's only going to get one chance. at least with the base kit, right, to reflect damage back in your face. And if she dies, there's no revive in the base kit. We'll see what they do with the artifact and whether or not that makes it so that she can compete with Norrin Rad. Anyways, moving on, let's take a look at the skills right here. First skill, bleed. Second skill, paralysis. It's okay, whatever, not really that great. Third skill, the heal is honestly not that great. This should have been, in my opinion, about a 40% heal, because 20 is just not good enough. We got incapacitation here, which is okay, and then we got burn, we got defense down, we got accumulation, we got iframe ignore and penetration, which is very, very good. The cooldowns on the skills are actually pretty good in my opinion, but honestly, it will be interesting to see how she compares to Norrin Rad for 6,000. No, should not be buying for 6,000 at any point, right? So 5,280 crystals will be interesting to see. Anyways, moving on, we got my queen, Emma Frost. Okay, this one you're gonna have to get tokens from buying something in the shop, and then you'll be able to use tokens on her. 30 tokens. Let's see what makes her different. So right away, we got super armor, all defense 20%, and we got immunity to incapacitation. I think that the immunity to incapacitation was already there, yeah, but it was on a cooldown. Let me show you right here. So they changed up a little bit. I thought they would have increased the attack a little bit more, but as you can see, they gave her super armor and 20% all defense. Usually the female characters are supports to some extent, but it will be interesting to see what Emma does this time around to convince players to buy her. But then again, Emma Frost is one of those characters that her fan base is huge, okay? So they might not need to do much to convince people to spend a bag on her. So, okay. We got immunity to mind damage. We got 50% mind damage that was already here. And then we got this. So this is exactly the same as last time. And then let's take a look at the HP buff. That's 40%, still the same. We got 30% guaranteed dodge. So everything, with the exception of the bonus damage, is about the same. We got 5% more bonus skill damage and 10% more bonus damage. First skill, not that great. Second skill, not that great. Third skill has the iframe ignore, 30% heal, 5 seconds of invincibility. They bumped up the accumulation from 0.5 to 1%. She still has the 85% damage reduction, which is huge, because previously, let me show y'all, right, the way how she healed was on her 5th skill. This is much better now because it means you'll have access to her healing all the time, really, because even if the enemy jumps into an iframe, you'll be able to still hit them, presumably, if your skill is not on cooldown, because keep in mind that before, since she had to wait until they came out of the iframe to use her 5th skill to heal, that might have been a problem and she could die. However, now she will just use her 3rd skill, get that massive damage reduction and heal at the same time with a stronger accumulation. This is very, very good. The only way this could have been better if they bumped up the heal a little bit more from 30% or made her max HP increase a little bit more so that she would heal a little bit more, but it's fine. This is actually a very, very good thing. Right, and they also lowered the cooldown by 3 seconds. However, they did increase, let me show you, the cooldown of the 4th skill from, I believe it was 11 seconds, yep, to 15 seconds. So overall, her skills are on a 1 second longer of a cooldown, because I believe the other skills were already like 6 and 7 seconds. Yeah, so the skill cooldown in our overall kit is 1 second longer, but it's fine because sure, you have the mind control and paralysis with the defense down on the 4th skill, but most characters have in PvP they have debuff removal, so you're not really going to mind control, paralyze, or reduce their defenses that much or that often. I'm happy with what's going on right here. However, we're going to have to wait and see how much of an impact she makes in PvP. Moving on, we have Zaddy Groot, Planet X Palm, okay? Palm Beach Stunner. Let's go. All right, let's see what my guy Groot is doing comparatively to last time. I think Emma looks great. I think Shalla-Bal looks good. We'll have to wait and see how things play out for her. And then for Groot, okay, uniform bonus, he's getting 30% attack, 30% recovery rate, and increase the skill damage, bonus damage. This is, say it with me now, almost the same as last time. The only thing that's different is a 5% increase to skill damage and bonus damage. All right, then we have, I think this is the ultimate skill, and they're saying for this skill, only the skill name and icon will be changed. Honestly, the tier 3 that he had last time is actually pretty good, so I don't have a problem with that. I think you can insta cancel it. It did decent damage. It was cool, so I don't have a problem with that. At least they're honest enough to, you know, do the real work for us. We don't have to test and see if they did anything. They just said we didn't do anything. Anyways, moving on. Applies to alien allies. This is good. So this makes him a better support for PvE and for PvP, right? However, the chance is 50% when they get hit. So, it's not the worst. It could be better. So 20% healing and extra damage to boss, that makes him a little bit better for PvE and PvP, but will that be enough? VPAD on the 1, kind of crazy. Doesn't look like Groot is gonna have any that's sad, any PvP viability. It looks like at best you use him with Gladiator for ABL, but we already have Yondu and Beta Ray Bill. But actually this is a little bit better than Beta Ray, but is it worth it? It's 10% more, right? Beta Ray, let me see, my guy gives 35, right? I'm getting old, so I just want to double check. It's 10% more. If you care about your ABL, ABX scores, then you could buy it for that. Let me show you right here. Beta Ray gives alien allies 35. Groot will now give you 45. All right, they're slightly increasing your scores for ABL with Groot. And if you wanted to toss him in as a support for maybe Null in TBA, then you get a little bit of healing on the weeks when the other characters either have insanely high penalties or they're banned. Sadly, sadly, Groot is not going to be a PvP character. I wish that was the case. Moving on, to protect her home world, she volunteered to become a herald for Galactus. Let's see what her tier 3 looks like. Not that special. I'm saying it's okay, but whatever. Alright, we got ignore, dodge, penetration, invincibility, all attack, panic. Alright, let's see. We got healing and extra damage. So I think this is Luna Snows, right? Increases. Actually, Luna might be 60, so this might actually be stronger than Luna. I'm gonna have to double check. Right, I think Luna was, oh no, Luna's is 80 and it degrades by 8%. Let me show you guys what I'm looking at right here. This is Luna Snow's tier 4 buff, Dark Ice. 80% degrades by 8%, so this is actually worse in terms of offense, but then he gives you a little bit of defense. You can get a full heal out of it. If this could pop every rotation, that actually will make her a little bit better than she looked at tier 3. All right, next up we have Ebel Frost, and this increases damage dealt to target with higher max HP than Emma by 70% and decreases damage taken from targets with lower max HP than Emma by 35%. So this is very, very, very powerful. Definitely looking like Emma's gonna be a a good tier 4 for most people, in my opinion. Then we have Groot. I think Groot's tier 4 is an easy skip considering he's not a PvP character. He's just a alien support for Gladiator and the likes. Possibly a little bit of TBA use for a heal on your team, I guess, for somewhat like null teams or whatever. But it's up to you guys, right? As you can see, it increases character size, gives you 80% all attack, and then gives him a heal. But he's not gonna stick around to do big stuff for you in PvP. Now here is the big one, okay? They took away Shalla-Bal. Well, I can't really say take away, right? Because she's a brand new character, right? But unlike Norin, who gets a revive in the base kit, Shalla-Bal, you're gonna have to get her artifact, and this will give you a revive. It's 80%, the exact same thing that we have for Norin now in the Void Knight uniform, which is an increase of 20% because base kit Silver Surfer had 60%. Anyways, in addition to that, it increases her HP, and it's 0.5, so that's very, very good. Once you start leveling this thing up, she's gonna revive with more HP than she had when she died. This is actually a better version of what Apocalypse has. As you can see right here, Apocalypse revives with 50, and then as you can see, it can increase his, and it's the same 0.5. So this is a very, very powerful artifact. It's a new chase artifact, so if you were sitting on a bunch of essence, now might be the time to pop it when this patch goes live later tonight. Anyways, and then they're changing the icon for Ironheart's 5th skill. I'm not sure why anyone cares. And then they're completing the Fantastic Four First Steps uniform collection, and you get 100 Godstones. I would have preferred 100 crystals, but it is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this overall is a very, very good mid-month patch. I think the only disappointing aspect of this is Groot only offering 10% more damage for ABL, because you don't really need him for anywhere else. But hey, maybe if you are, you know, a World Boss Legend Plus pusher, if that's even a term that we're using, if you know you're climbing those high stages and you want a little bit more extra juice, then here you go, 45% more damage to all of your aliens, because before he was locked only to assisting the Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's not terrible. Anyways, let's see what else they got for the events. Okay, that's a skip. Next. Okay, so they got a web shop exclusive for tokens. 20 tokens for $20, 2,000 crystals. It's actually not bad. You can buy that 4 times. You see now. This is actually pretty good. It's 50 tokens, way more tokens that you need. But if there are uniforms from previous seasons that you wanted, and you also wanted some tokens to try and this is actually pretty good, to be honest. If there's some tokens that you wanted to acquire to maybe level up your team up collection, this is kind of a good deal. Hold on, you can get her at 5 stars for $80, and then you get a premium tier. So if you, this is actually not a bad deal if you don't want to spend crystals. $80, 3,000 crystals. You get her at 5 stars, and then you just push her to 6 stars, and then you can just use the mega tier 3. Oh, this is actually not a bad deal, honestly. I can see a lot of whales buying this, and you also get the premium advancement ticket, which you can use on tier 2 natives. So she's gonna be ready. Primed and ready. Wow, well that's good. And then this you could use to just get her ready for tier 4 right away. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. I think this is actually right here. This web shop exclusive is pretty good. I think this is pretty good. The rest, this is like good for. But then when you get this, you still have to wait because you need 30 tokens for Emma, right? You get this, and then you get the 10 tokens from the login. They got some decent deals, right? So this is the summer check-in, and then where's the? Okay, we got second week 300 crystals. Third week is kind of trash. I ain't gonna hold you. Fourth week is okay. Fifth week, this should have been at least 100. Crystals is nice. Okay, so every other week you get 300 crystals, and then it ends with a tier 3 advancement ticket. And then let's see what else we got here. Are they doing any discounts? Okay, so Old Storm, Old Silk, Enchantress, they're all discounted. Luna is still full price because they know Luna is still a hot commodity. Y'all gonna have to keep waiting, goddamn. Alright, let's see. Update celebration. Yo, look at Groot, bro. Zach. I ain't gonna hold you, man. Groot looks thirsty as a mother. Anyways, I'm moving on, man. I'm moving on. Alright, so let's see. 40% discount on the uniforms and non-seasonals, obviously. And then where's the oh, this is the X-Men event token. Okay, this is the one that we seen that we were wondering about. Okay, timeline survival. I didn't even notice that they didn't do timeline survival yet. That's kind of crazy. Okay, artifact discount 20% on both of these guys. I think I'm hold on, the little rubber ducky. Yeah, they're sending that to your inbox. That's kind of lit. I ain't gonna hold you. Hold on, the check-in. Okay, so yeah, 7-day check-in. You're gonna be able to get 10 tokens like always. Is there anything else? That's about it. All right, ladies and gents, leave me your thoughts on this patch notes in the comments. I think they did okay with Emma, honestly, and I think Shalla-Bal is going to be a lot more impactful than people initially thought. You know, most people were thinking they were going to drop her and leave her as a tier 2 native, possibly just a tier 3 character. Nah, she's going all the way to tier 4, and they're doing things to make sure that she is impactful. So we'll see how much they actually put into the kit outside of what we see on paper. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.